Hey guys, Donnie Ross here, and we are back for another one. So let's go right back into it. Let me see, check encoder settings, making sure that we're streaming. Recommended number 2. Okay, I'm not sure what this says, but encoder settings. Okay, so we are back in there. Just make sure there's no hiccups on here. I'll play with the settings later. So, hi guys, Donnie Ross here, and you are listening to the podcast One Life, No Noise. Change can be extremely scary. Confronting your fears can be really scary and maybe debilitating. But when you realize that it only takes a couple seconds of courage to conquer those fears, and then as a result of conquering those fears, that is how you grow and expand your boundary, and whatever used to scare you before now becomes insignificant. So aside from just taking action and expanding that boundary, it also helps to have good people around you, people who remind you of who you are, what you're about. This goes to say that no man is an island. You need people in your life, right? You want to make a change. No person could do it alone. You need the people around you to help inspire that vision, remind you of what it is, see the things inside you that you cannot see, and also just encourage you to maybe see things from a different light. So I'm leading into an experience. I was at Art Basel last night, and I went to the Fiena Hotel here in Miami Beach with my friend, and I wasn't even really planning on going out this evening. So I was like, all right, we went out, and we went out to dinner, and my friend's like, what the hell are you wearing? I literally, because I was dealing with stuff in the apartment, I had a t-shirt, a black t-shirt, and like a bathing suit on. He's like, we're going to dinner. He's like, you cannot go out like that. So after dinner, a great Turkish meal we had, he brought me back to my apartment. So I ran up to the apartment and kind of changed out my shirt, and I had just a polo shirt. I go back in the car. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, you can't, everyone is dressed up to the nines in Miami Beach. He's like, go put a collared shirt on. He's like, I know it's fine. I'm just commenting. And then I was like, nope, no. Turn around. So we go back to my apartment. I go back upstairs, throw on a black shirt, and now I'm looking spiff. We head over to the Fiena Hotel, and we're just sitting there, like just kind of browsing and just kind of observing the scene, because it definitely was a scene in Miami. Everyone dressed, everyone peacocking, trying to outdo the other person. And we're in this outdoor area, and looking around, notice people. There was one person that stuck out. This girl with the blonde hair, and she had a golden smile. So she was talking with a couple of her friends. She looked up, she looked my way, and I noticed she kept looking at me. I was like, I mean, am I seeing this? Is she looking at someone behind me? What's going on here? But I noticed that as we would move around, wherever she was, she would always peer up, smile, and then start talking with her friends again. So I in my mind, I was like, all right, well, she's going to come talk to me. I just have a feeling she's going to come talk to me. That did not happen. So my friend was encouraging it, and I know he was coming from a very, very good place. He's like, Donnie, come on. And he's like pointing in that direction. I'm like, stop pointing. Don't draw attention. And I was starting to get very, very anxious and very, and he's like, just go. And as he was saying this, it just increased the volume of the noise in my mind. Like the self-criticism, the fears were like overwhelming. And I love him for this. And then towards the, and as we're talking about this, and I'm like telling him why, I was, you're making me feel more awkward, when the truth is that he can't make me feel anything. I am making myself feel that, right? And it all came down from fear of like worthiness of approaching someone that I thought was very, very attractive. And so he's like, listen, whatever is going on in your head whatever you're thinking right now is only going on in your head. He's like, this is not the reality. And he's right? And it was very, it was advice that I had to swallow, because it's advice that I give. So I was like, oh my God, he's so right. But isn't it difficult to stop the train once the train's going, right? Once a ball is set in motion, now all of a sudden you're like, shit, like how do I stop it? Like there's like inertia. So he then proceeded so where she was standing, he then proceeded to walk in that direction. I'm like, I am going to kill you. And we're literally now we're like almost like back to back with this group. And as he's sitting there, I'm furious. I'm like, just giving him like the evil eye, and I'm like telling him, wait until we leave this bar. And then I'm looking up, and I noticed that the girl looked up at me. And so my friend has continued to talk. He looks to the left, and this is what he told me afterward. And he's like, I looked to the left, and then I looked back, and he was still talking, but I wasn't there. And I went up to the girl, and I said hello, and I started talking to her. And so as we're reflecting on it, and so to tell you about the experience itself, so the girl I met, she was from Sweden, living in New York City, and she was beautiful, not just like physically beautiful, but I could tell she had a beautiful spirit. Like her smile was it was the nicest smile. I mean, there's a lot of attractive people in Miami Beach. She stood out because her smile was just amazing. It's like, you can tell I'm a big smile person. And after the fact, he was telling me, we were talking about this. And he was telling me how like he looked up and he's like, "Where's Donnie?" And all of a sudden I was over there talking. But what was going on in my mind? Like there was a lot of internal struggle there. But I in my mind, without even knowing it, I knew that I had to do something. I knew that I had to, like there was pressure on myself, like you got to go talk to her. And there's this battle, but I remembered. Like this, it only takes, one of my favorite quotes, and it's something great to remember, regardless of what it is. It only takes 3 seconds of courage. In this case, it only took 1 second of courage. I literally, as he was talking, I saw him look up. I was like, okay, 1, 2, 3, whoo, and I swept in and just say, hey, where are you from? And that was the conversation starter. And the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because the things that you're afraid of are very often the things that you must do. After I spoke to her, I got her number. That opened. Then there was a whole other dialogue going on in my head. But the point I want to make right now is that when you step out, you push that border out. And whenever we push beyond our comfort zone, whenever we have the courage and we step out, we have a choice. We can now create a new wall and say, now this is my border. And then when you make that same decision again, you take those bricks apart and you go out 5 feet, or you can retract, or you choose to, you go over, you make a courageous move, but then you jump back over the wall because you're too scared. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to take advantage of those 3 seconds where you throw your body into it before your mind has a way of talking you out of it. And this is a way of, in essence, it's a way of really trusting your heart, because your heart knows exactly the actions you need to take, but you're afraid. 3 seconds of courage. 1, 2, go. And then you go in that direction. And this could be many things, right? It's just something to lock you in, something to burn your boat, so that you have to make and move in the direction of the thing you want. Life is multifaceted, right? It's never a finish. There's never a finish line here. And I think one of the comforts in life is just knowing that, because you realize that there's always another level. There's always going to be a fear, a comfort zone that you got to break through in order to get to that next spot. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things about life is that we're constantly, it's in our DNA to want to grow and expand and become more. So when you are faced with one of those experiences where it feels scary and you're terrified, do the action anyways. Just count 3, 2, 1, go. A big part of life is literally just showing up, as well as not giving up, because the more you give up, the more distinction you have, the more likely you are to progress. But showing up is the biggest factor, because by showing up, all of a sudden now possibilities open up. So I thought this story was, it just taught, it reinforced a lesson with me, one with like the 3, 2, 1 courage, just jump into it. but also, just to share the reminder that all the thoughts in your head, those are not reality. Those are just in your head. And when you look at life and say, you know what? One of the paradoxes of life is that nothing really matters, right? Look at it at the same time, everything really matters, right? The moment matters, but at the same time, nothing. It's a paradox. But when you realize that nothing really matters, like I could meet 1 million people here tomorrow, everyone is going to go back home to wherever the hell they're from, unless they live in Florida. But chances are I probably won't see them anyways. So there really is. It's just getting over the fear of doing it. But even if I would see the person every day, what does it matter, right? And I say not that it's what does it matter to say like, oh well, who the hell gives a shit about anything, right? It doesn't matter. Not to say to be lazy, but what it is in the pursuit of your goals, when it's in pursuit of the things you want to bring into your life, but you're worried about what other people might think or what other people may do. What does it matter? 3, 2, 1. Make that giant step. Take the leap. Go after your one life. Hope you enjoy this. I got a kick out of it. Like just reflecting on my night last night. I was like, man, what the heck was going through my mind? So I hope that in this like little internal strife that I had from this experience makes you laugh in some way, but also just gives you a lesson just to go out for it and do it anyways, to take a step, even if it scares you. Take the leap. You will not regret it, I promise. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with 5 people. Invite them to listen to One Life podcast. That's how we get the word out about this, how we help more people, how we encourage more people to live their one life. Again, if you have any questions, you can send them to me via my website at www.donnyrouse.com, DonnyRaus.com. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you only get one life. Live fully, live present, live now. God bless, and I will see you again soon.